Welcome to episode 13 of Kent's Garage. It's a brand new year, 2016, and I wish all of you a very happy new year. You know, my resolution is going to see if I can shoot another 1,000 videos this year. No, just kidding. That's way too much work. But we have been having a lot of fun in the shop around here. You know, we took a few days off, but not too much time off. You know, we got a lot of work to do. You can see I'm still working on my 560 SEC. Just wait until you see what I've been doing in this engine compartment. You know, this engine compartment was really nice to begin with. In fact, it was so nice, I decided I wanted to make it perfect. Well, making it perfect is a big job. You know, you can kind of make it like 85–90% perfect, but when you want to make it perfect, you spend hours and hours extra. You know, I call that Kent's Law of Perfection. It takes about 20% of your effort to get to the 80th percentile of perfection when detailing a car like this. Now, if you want to go from the 80th percentile to the 100th percentile level of perfection, that takes 80% of your effort. You follow me? The 80-20 reverses. So there I am today. I'm still working hour after hour trying to get to, I'll probably get to like 97%, okay? I don't think I'm going to try for 100% because you're always going to see something and you just keep going on and on and on. And what I've got here is I've got all the stuff, all the chemicals, all the tools, all the brushes, everything I use to do this type of extreme detailing. Now, I'm not talking about washing down an engine compartment. I've already done an on-demand video. It's available on my website. Shows you how to go in and clean an engine with less than a gallon of water, so you're not spraying it all over the place and getting it all on those sensitive electronics. So if you're just interested in cleaning your engine, that's not the subject of what I'm working on now. This is what I call extreme detailing. This is where you get in there and start cleaning every little nut and bolt, where you condition all the rubber parts and the plastic parts, where you highly detail all the parts of the metal that have discolored over the years. They got some yellow staining on them. And that's kind of what I'm doing here. And I am filming an on-demand video that's going to be available probably around the mid to latter part of January 2016. And in that video, I will explain every single chemical that I use. I've had a bunch of questions about this, so just stand by, hold on. We're going to have a video it's literally going to take you through every chemical I use. Now, that's not to say that every chemical I use is the best chemical in the world. It's just what I found works for me over the years. I'm sure you get into this type of extreme detailing and you start experimenting. You'll even come up with some of your own little unique solutions and tools to help make the job easier. So we're going to use the 560 SEC here to show how you do it on a clean engine to begin with. And then I'm going to use my 240D that you've seen in previous episodes and take you through some of the more specifics of how I got that engine to look real nice. Remember, that engine was rusty, a lot of corrosion on the aluminum parts. It just looked ugly, including all the inner fender panels and everything. All the black painted parts were faded. So that's extreme detailing kind of in a different arena, but it's still the same type of work. You're trying to get that engine compartment looking like it did when it came from the factory. So I'll put up another post probably by next Kent's episode. I'll let you know the status of this video that I'm working on. But right now, I'm just going to take you and show you a couple little things, maybe a little sneak peek of what I've been working on over here, so you can kind of get a taste of what I'm trying to do here. Now, this is what I mean by extreme detailing. Take a look at this fuel distributor and these fuel injector lines and the linkages back in here. Have you ever seen anyone this nice before? If you've been following my videos, you know very well that if you mess around with these older Mercedes-Benzes, at some point you're going to have to deal with one of these sunroofs, whether it's a power sunroof or a manually operated sunroof. You also know from listening to my videos that I believe 80–90% of the problems come from lack of lubrication. And so is the case today. You know, this 240D I acquired a while ago and had been sitting for 4 years, and I finally decided, okay, I've been working on the engine, been doing some other detailing on the car, decided, you know, it's time to get this sunroof working, get it opened up, and lubricate it completely. Well, guess what happened? When I tried to open it, it wouldn't open. And you can see here that, you know, I had it dropping down on the right side over there in the rear, but this left side would not drop down, which means it couldn't go back. It has to drop down in the back before it can move aft. So there's probably something wrong right in here. There's a little pivot arm on these non-tilting sunroofs that drop the back down and allow it to go back. And it's probably frozen up due to lack of lubrication. I know I'm sounding like an old broken record. But the problem is, how do you get to that? To lubricate it? How do you get to anything to work on the sunroof when that headliner panel's in the way? And you know, we've received hundreds of emails over the years about this problem. Hey, Kent, how do I fix my sunroof when it won't open? Well, you've got to be able to open it to work on it, and this is never talked about in the factory manuals. They always say, open the sunroof, part way, snap down the headliner panel, move the sunroof back, pull the headliner panel out and over the top of the roof, and you're good to go. Then work on your sunroof. Well, why didn't the factory manual say, hey, by the way, if you can't get your sunroof open at all, not even with the emergency little tool in the trunk, what are you going to do? So that's going to be the purpose of an on-demand training video series that I'm currently doing on the non-tilting sunroof. So I'm going to begin with this 1976 240D right here. And we're going to begin by talking about how in the world you get that panel off. And guess what? I was able to get the panel off without damaging it. Because a lot of people have gotten in there and they've tried to pull this panel down without being able to move the roof aft, and sure enough, they bend it, destroy it, rip the fabric, and sometimes it's kind of hard to find replacements, particularly on these older cars now. And if you can find a good used one somewhere in a wrecking yard, that's great. But notice here, I was able to remove this headliner panel from this jammed sunroof without damaging it. And that's going to be the first section in my training video, because I know if you're working on these models that are 30 years and older, not even that, maybe 20 years and older, particularly like on the tilting sunroofs, you know, they have problems. But we're going to focus on the non-tilting sunroofs. I've already done a complete video series on the tilting sunroofs, including the problems of getting to a jammed sunroof. And I have a complete on-demand 5-part series on my website. I'll put a link here and you can go to that. But on this one, it's going to focus on these non-tilting sunroofs. So if you're interested, this is probably going to take a couple days. We go through the whole procedure. It may be 3 or 4 videos in the entire series. But be sure and check that out if you're having problems like this. Because let me tell you, if you don't get in there and lubricate your sunroof, this is what's going to happen. Someday, it's just not going to open. I had to pull the hydraulic fluid reservoir out of this 560 SEC for 2 reasons. Number one, I had a leak in the low pressure hose exiting the tank and going into the hydraulic pump on the engine. Number two, I wanted to do some extreme detailing down underneath the tank. And it's kind of dark down in there. So today, I've got something up my sleeve, folks. I mean, really up my sleeve. I'm going to introduce you to my favorite tool of the week. In fact, this is the favorite tool today because I just received it yesterday. And that, folks, is a wrist light. Take a look at that. Now I can hold this and get down in here. Man, I can see all the way down past the AC pump. Now, you're probably thinking, oh, Kent, that's just gimmick. No, it's not gimmicky. How many of us have tried to hang on to a flashlight, and where did it go? Where did I put that? And you're running all over the place, the shop, trying to find some light because I just want to check out those spark plug wires down in here like this. See that? And I can twist my wrist. I can work with this hand. Now notice I have it upside down, so it's protected. And what I do is I come in the morning now, I put this on, I just leave it under my shop coat. I don't have to worry about carrying a flashlight around with me. This is for emergency and just quick looking around where you need a little light very quickly and you don't want to run somewhere in the garage or the shop. What's cool about this is it's USB chargeable, so I just take it off at the end of the day, plug it into my computer, come back the next day. That's my plan anyway. I'll report back in a couple episodes and let you know how I like using this long term. But I tell you, it's really nice to always have a light with you whenever you need it. You can see I'm also still working on the 76240D. We're kind of wrapping this up. We're going through this on-demand video sequence on doing an injection pump timing on this engine. And this is the toughest one to do timing on because of the restricted clearances and getting to that injection pump. But I've just finished painting and installing the air cleaner housing. If you remember in one of those early episodes in Kent's Garage, I showed you how bad some of these metal parts, particularly the air filter housing, looked when we removed it from the car. But let me show you that now. When you're detailing out your engine compartment, I think one of the best improvements visually is painting the air filter housing. Almost all of these air filter housings on these old cars are faded, peeling, worn. You should have seen this one when I started on it. You can see it was pretty messy. In fact, the wrong one was on the car, so I was able to find a replacement. But look at how nice that looks. Now, I didn't have to spend a lot of time on this. I didn't use high-grade expensive paint. I did have to clean it thoroughly, degrease it, and sand it. Take a look at the top of the air filter housing. Isn't that nice? I mean, sure, you could look at it real close and say, well, that's not 100% show quality, but for this car, that's pretty nice. And I take any other parts off the car that I can spray paint. You know, you saw me use a brush on those areas around the engine block, but if I can remove the parts from the engine, I go ahead and paint them. Look at how nice that pulley looks as well. Okay, now we're going to set this down in the engine compartment so you get a chance to see how it looks installed in this 240D. You know, we spent a lot of time cleaning up this inner fender panel, and we painted some piping down here and cleaned the wiring. So let me slide this air filter housing in. Now, I'm not going to snap it in place, but I'm just going to set the cover down in here. And then I'll bring the camera in and let you see this. And you can see how nice that looks compared to what it did when we started a month ago. I think even you'll be impressed by watching this, how good that air filter housing looks installed in this 240D after painting it. Okay, the housing's in. Now I'm going to tackle this piece right here. Now, how do you make this piece look beautiful? It's black plastic, it's faded, it's all scratched up, and I want some of you to guess how I'm going to make this look pretty, and in the next episode of Kent's Garage, I'll show you this installed. Let me show you my favorite product of the week. That's it right there, folks. This is a sponge totally covered with microfiber cloth. Over the years, I have detailed hundreds of cars. I've tried all kinds of products, all kinds of rags, all kinds of applicators, and just recently, I've become very fond of this sponge. Now, this isn't just any normal sponge. There's something about the stiffness and the absorption rate of this sponge inside that makes this very ideal for both interior and exterior detailing. I can use protectants on this microfiber sponge and go through the whole interior. I can use this for leather cleaner, and particularly now, doing some final detailing on the exterior of this 240D, this is one of the best applicators I've found yet to apply high quality wax or glaze. This is acrylic works that I'm using here. But watch, as it just lets you get in there and give it a good heavy pressure, even with two hands. you can see it'll start pulling the dirt out and even some oxidized paint. But what I found that's different from other applicators is it doesn't soak so much of it into the sponge. So you constantly have to add more and more and more. Notice here I've only had to add a few drops, and then I can come back and finish up the top of this fender. You know, it takes some elbow grease. Like over the years I've tried to teach a lot of people how to detail cars, and so many people, they just, you know, like this. Oh yeah, I'm waxing my car, I'm buffing my car. You got to get into it, folks. Any of you who've done a lot of detailing, you know that nothing beats the hand, the human hand, the feel that you get. I've used all kinds of power tools and power buffers, but there's something about the hand, the feel that you get when you do this that way. But of course, I have to use power buffers now because I'm getting too old. And then the other thing is, I really like the microfiber cloths now. You can buy these in bundles. They're pretty inexpensive now. I used to use a lot of these blue shop towels for, you know, buffing off waxes and polish, but anymore now, it's microfiber cloths, okay? Now, I don't know if you can see this in the video, but just look at the shine on the top of this fender. I love microfiber sponges, by the way. Cut. Well, I'm going to have to wrap up this episode of Kent's Garage. I really need to get back to work. I mean, at some point, I have to stop doing videos and actually get some work done. This has taken a lot longer than I thought it was going to take, and that's coming up with a D.I.Y. diesel injection pump timing kit with all the supplies, all the things that you'll need to be able to do this yourself and get reliable readings and be able to set that injection pump right on the mark, right where it should be. So this has been kind of fun because I've come up with kind of a new method. This is going to be called Kent's method of setting your injection pump timing. And I've got to go through the process now of shooting the video and kind of explaining this step by step, because when I sell the kit on my site, it'll come with complete video instructions on how you can go in and set the injection timing. This will be specific to OM616 and OM617 engines from the early 70s right up to about 1985. Later on, if there's enough interest in this, I'll do an injection pump timing kit on the OM601, 602, and 603 engines. So I'm going to roll up my sleeves. I got a couple more hours to go here today, and I'm going to try to explain how you hook up all these things that I've come up with on the engine and how you get the system set up so you can get that little drip tube to drip 1 drip per second. We've all heard about, yes, you have to have it drip 1 drip per second. Sometimes I'd laugh. I thought, now what happens if it's dripping at 1 drip every 1.25 seconds? Does that mean your engine's going to explode? I'm sorry, I know I'm being facetious. But I can remember, and I'm going to put another video up about this. It just seems like when you look at that drip method, the way the factory spells it out, you think, wow, that's not very technologically advanced. It kind of takes me back to my Model T days when you used to set the timing, remember, on the old Model T engines. Seems pretty primitive to me, but I think I found a way that you can do this and do it and get reliable results using the factory recommended drip tube method. So that's something that's going to come down the road here. I'm really hoping to have this wrapped up in a week. I've got to be able to move this 240D out and get the next car in that I want to start working on here in Kent's Garage. Now, there's one thing I want to end with. I want to express my appreciation to those of you who've been watching this series over the past few months. And so to show that appreciation, I'm going to offer all you viewers a special coupon to purchase items on my website. This coupon won't be advertised anywhere else. It won't be on my website. You'll have to remember what the code is, because the code's not going to be listed on the website anywhere, and that's the coupon code that you have to enter into the information during checkout. The code is going to be Garage 13. Okay, I'm going to repeat. All caps, Garage 13. That'll be the coupon code for this special offer for you viewers. I will give you 20% off on any order that's over $75. That does not include shipping, nor will it include sale items that are already on sale on my website. So once again, for you viewers, take advantage of this. It's only going to be for 1 week. By the time the next Kent's Garage airs, this special will be gone. So it's only for 7 days. Once again, the coupon is Garage13, all caps, and it will apply to anything on my website. Any order over $75, you'll get 20% off. So I want to wish all of you a Happy New Year and safe motoring.
But one that I'd never switch, 'cause there's no nicer witch than you.